morning, MacDowell. My name is Mandy Berlin, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this week's quarantine edition of Trojans Today. We have an exciting lineup for you today. We'll start by taking a trip away from home with Mr. Shilaju, who is going hiking at Lake Erie Community Park. After that, we're sure to feel inspired by nature, so we have an online painting tutorial with Kira. Next up, Zach is going to teach his dog Louie how to lay down on a puppy pastime. And after that, Samantha and Jacob, two of Mrs. Weiss's dedicated film students, have some tips and tricks for your relationship surviving quarantine. Next, we'll take things back to me and Megan, who have been writing letters to each other. And finally, Izzy Southard, a senior here at MacDowell Media, has a piece dedicated to our 2020 senior class. I am proud to announce that our trivia winner from last week was my own 5th grade teacher from Bell Valley Elementary School, Mrs. Donahue. Congratulations, Mrs. Donahue. Now over to Mr. Shilaju.
Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Shilaju. And in our last show, you spent time hiking in one of Mrs. Weiss's favorite places. Now come with me to Lake Erie Community Park. I think you'll find it's a great alternative from the busy bike and walkways of the peninsula. It has become a favorite place of mine. So come down the road and I'll show you.
Going west on Route 5 into Lake City, you will find Lake Erie Community Park on Community Park Drive. It's in close proximity to Elk Creek Park access area and Erie Bluff State Park. The 125-acre park provides an easy means for exercising, as you will find both paved and gravel roads all around the area. But if you would like to venture on roads less traveled, there are trails that can take you closer to the shoreline or to see some beautiful scenes in nature.
And if you don't like hiking and walking, Lake Erie Community Park is very well maintained and has a lot of benches and picnic tables to sit at. And you may be asking yourself, why would you come out to Lake City to come sit in the park? Well, follow me and I'll show you a few reasons.
Lake Erie Community Park offers some of the best views of Lake Erie. I could talk about this at length, but I think I'll let Mother Nature narrate her own story for a minute. Also, the park offers rare opportunities to spot bald eagles. In the few years I've been coming here, I've seen bald eagles 5 times. The encounters are for only brief moments, but the memories of seeing this magnificent creature will last a long time. And if you see something that looks like one, but doesn't have a white feathered head, you still may be looking at a bald eagle, as these birds do not gain their distinctive trademark until they reach full maturity.
Now, there's no better way to celebrate burning off a couple hundred calories than to put back on 1,000 more. And you can do that right outside the park at the Dairy Oasis. Some people recommend their maple soft served ice cream, but I say go big or go home and get the large hot fudge sundae with nuts and whipped cream. From TNN News, this is Mr. Shilaju, hoping you're having a safe and restful day.
Thank you, Mr. Shilaju. That scenery has me feeling fresh and inspired, so let's go learn how to capture it in the digital world with Kira.
Just because you're stuck at home doesn't mean that you can't be creative. Combining my absolute boredom and respect for Bob Ross, I figured out a way to keep creating things in quarantine. I downloaded a free software called Paint.net and created this piece right here. I'll be showing you how to make this today in Creating in Quarantine. First things first, we're going to paint our sunset. I started with the paintbrush tool. I made it very big and I lowered the hardness on it so the edges were softer. And I started with a nice light yellow and slowly shifted into darker oranges and then an orange-red color in order to emulate a sunset. Up next, we're going to make ourselves a little mountain range. So I raised the hardness of my brush and lowered the size of it and got a nice gray color and started drawing the outlines of a basic mountain range off in the distance amidst our sunset. So afterwards, I grabbed the line tool in order to close off the mountain shape, and then I used the paint bucket tool in order to fill in the color. Now we're going to add some highlights to our mountains. To do this, I grabbed the magic wand tool and selected the mountain range. Then I went back to our color palette and got a slightly lighter gray and went back to the paintbrush tool. I raised the size of the paintbrush tool and lowered the hardness a bit, and then added the lighter gray to the right side of all the mountains in order to make them shine a little. Now we're going to do the same thing we just did, but this time in reverse. So we're going to grab a slightly darker gray than the base of the mountain and use it as a shadow and go on the left side of the mountain range this time. Now we're going to add another layer of mountains, however this time it's going to be a little bit darker to give our mountain range some depth. So you're going to follow the same steps we did to make the first mountain range, but this time with a slightly darker color palette. Up next, we're going to paint our lake. For this step, you're going to need varying hues of different oranges and yellows. I raised the size of my paintbrush and lowered the hardness and just kept using sweeping strokes across the canvas until I was happy with how it turned out. For this step, it's really personal preference, so just keep playing around with it until you're happy with what it looks like. Now we're going to add a little bit of a splash to our water. We're going to go make a new layer and put this layer above both of our mountain layers. Now we're going to use the same orange we were using for the water and lower the hardness and the opacity, and then just add a few dots of this across the line where the mountains meet the water in order to give the water a little more life. Now we're going to add the silhouette of some land. So you're going to grab your paintbrush tool again in a solid black and draw a nice little slope. Next, we're going to make the silhouette of an evergreen tree. To do this, I grabbed the line tool and made a thick line to be the trunk of our tree. Then I went back to the paintbrush tool and started making sweeping strokes outward in order to be the branches of the tree. Afterwards, I did some touch-up work, which included me erasing some branches that got a little too unruly, and then going back to the paintbrush tool and making it slightly bigger in order to fill in some gaps in the tree. I decided to add another tree in, but instead of redrawing the tree, I used the rectangle select tool and copy and paste, and then used the select pixels tool in order to shrink the tree to make it its own and then blend it into the environment. After that, I went back to the paintbrush tool and I drew in some grass in order to make the environment seem a little more lively. Our final step is for you to sign your masterpiece. Thanks for joining me on Creating During Quarantine. Now over to more news.
Thanks, Kira. What an awesome way to spend your time while social distancing. Speaking of awesome ways to spend your time, let's go over to puppy pastime with Zach and Louie.
Good morning, McDowell. I'm Zach, and this here is Louie. And today we're going to teach him how to lay down. This is a very simple and easy trick to teach your dog or anyone's dog, and it's very simple. It has very simple steps, and it will get your dog laying down in no time. Come on, let's try it, Louie. The first step is to get your dog in a seated position. This will make it easier for the trick. Then you're going to take your dog's favorite treat, put it to their nose, and lower it to the ground, saying lay down in the process. If they lay down completely, make sure to give them the treat. All right, so that's it for today. If you're teaching your dog this, try it in different places so they do it. So they're not just doing it in your living room, but also in your bedroom, in your dining room, or anywhere in your house. That's all for today, McDowell. From the Trojan News Network, I'm Zach. Now on to more news.
Thanks, Zach. It seems like Louie is adapting to distance learning well. Now we're going to take things over to Samantha and Jacob, who are going to give us some well-needed advice on your relationship and social distancing.
While being separated can be hard, it's important to do these 4 things to keep your relationship strong during social distancing. FaceTiming is important because it allows you and your partner to see each other's face and feel more in tune with each other. Communication is everything. Texting is huge when it comes to staying connected and sane. It allows you to communicate and keep your partner updated, which to some people is very important. A simple text can reassure your partner that you care for them and that you're thinking about them while you're apart. It also tells your partner that you're always with them even if you aren't physically. Another thing you can do is send them letters. This old-fashioned way of communication is very thoughtful and your partner is guaranteed to appreciate it. Last, you should try to do similar activities together. Anything from taking a walk to eating dinner at the same time, FaceTiming and doing it together will make it feel almost like a date. Now remember, this isn't forever, but for the time being, keep your distance and stay healthy.
Thank you guys. Those are some awesome tips for relationships and friendships. In fact, in this next segment, Megan and I are going to try our hand at writing letters.
Good morning, MacDowell. My name is Megan Longo,
And my name is Mandy Berlin.
and we have been friends since elementary school.
We miss each other very much, and a text just isn't the same as a big hug in the hallways at school.
Throughout quarantine, we've been keeping in touch by writing letters complete with stickers, pictures, sweet treats, and just a little love.
The benefit of writing letters is that we get something to look forward to now that life is a little dull. I absolutely love going to the mailbox and having a thoughtful letter from someone I love.
If you want to write a letter to one of your friends, our advice to you is to keep up with it. Try to write back every single week. I'm looking at you, Mandy.
And of course, write from the heart.
And don't forget the stickers.
We hope that you consider becoming pen pals with somebody that you miss. Now over to Izzy with a package dedicated to our seniors.
Hey everybody, I'm Isabel Tellard. I'm a senior at MacDowell, but we are in some interesting time right now, trying to adjust everything. There has definitely been a lot of mixed emotions between all the seniors. For me, I understand this kind of had to happen, unfortunately, but there's a lot of things that us seniors are going to miss out on. Currently, we've been told that graduation is going to be virtual. As most of you are aware, the PIAA has canceled the rest of the winter season, and then as well as the spring seasons. Prom is still up in the air, is what I believe, and then something I'm personally involved in is the CPA Theater, which unfortunately cannot stage our last production. But I did ask a few of the seniors how they felt about it. So Faith Renwick is a softball player who's going to miss out on her senior season.
The thing that's hitting me the hardest right now is not being able to play my senior softball season with MacDowell. I've made a lot of friends through that program. Some of them I can call sisters. Like, I'm so close with the girls. And the coaches, Coach Ashley, Coach Kelly, Coach Wolf, and Coach Krause, they've taught us they've not only been coaches to us, but like mentors throughout our past 4 years.
We seniors definitely did not imagine our last day to be how it was. We expected kind of to come back, basically say our last goodbyes.
I never thought senior year would end this way, and it definitely is a shock because I definitely had plans for future accomplishments coming up. So the crazy part of it all is that it just ended so fast, and I'm going into the military, so my time is shortened with my friends, and now I see people I would have said goodbye to and had fun with, and my graduation party I've been planning for a few months now is canceled because of Corona. And to all the seniors out there who are struggling, I feel you. We're gonna get through this.
It's not only the seniors or the other students that are affected, but also the teachers as well.
I have kids at home that I have to get, through the day too. My son has schoolwork he has to get done that he needs help with. And then students' schedules are not in sync. You know, some of them like their sleep and are more productive in the afternoon. I have a few that do things late at night. And I have a handful that contact me in the morning too. So I'm trying to be as available as I can because I want to be accommodating, but
I miss seeing their faces. So as a teacher, we kind of adopt you as our kids' for however long we have you. So even for me, if you're my kid for a semester, you kind of always become my kid. So I'll see you, 5 years in the future somewhere at a grocery store, and you'll still be one of my kids. So it's hard. I kind of feel a little lost because I don't get to see them, and I don't get to make sure they're okay, and ask about their lives. As teachers, we kind of get to be a part of your life for a very small amount of time.
Hoping everybody is safe and doing well. But from the Trojan News Network, I'm Isabel Sullard. Now back to Mandy.
Thank you, Izzy. All of our hearts here at the Trojan News Network go out to our 2020 senior class. Unfortunately, there isn't much advice we can give to our viewers today. There's no magic wand we can wave to make things better, but we have hope and we have each other. I'm Mandy Berlin, broadcasting from the Trojan News Network. Stay safe, stay kind, stay healthy, and as always, make it a great day, MacDowell.